Η Kick-Off υποδέχεται αυτή την εβδομάδα τον Αντρέ Schembri. André, welcome to Kick-Off. Thank you for joining us. How do you feel? How are you?
First of all, thank you very much for the invitation. I feel very good at the moment, and yes, different life than a player. Now I'm as a coach, so yeah, life is good.
And life as a coach, can we start from Anagennisi Teriñas?
Yes.
And then go through your past?
Yes. No, I had, before the season started, you know, I had an offer from Anagennisi, and although a lot of people I consulted with, you know, the suggestions were not to take the job, and the reason why is because the budget was the lowest in the second division. To attract quality players would be difficult because of the budget. To get loan players from big clubs like Omonia, Powell, Apollon would be also difficult because Teriña is far from these cities and they would rather stay within the city to play there. And also because I'm based in Limassol, for me to drive 2 hours every day, it would be tiring. However, I believe that if you want to improve in life, you need to get out of your comfort zone. And I accepted the offer. It was an amazing time for me, although I stayed 5 months there. I mean, I met very nice people. They created an environment for me to work. But I am very principled, and to be honest, you know, in coaching, football is a very driven, result-based. So the buck stops with me. And unfortunately, although I believe that the team was doing well, we were playing good football, unfortunately the results weren't coming. And I believed, you know, I handed my resignation because as a coach, you need to shoulder responsibility. Although the president wanted me to stay, the team wanted me to stay. But unfortunately, in the second division, if you don't gain so much points in the first round, it would be a little bit difficult to try and survive the division. So I got the team the first priority, and I said, you know, it's better that someone else might come. Maybe he would change things, and maybe the team would survive the league. So that was the decision. But no regrets. It was an amazing time. It helped me because, as you know, I mean, in Cyprus I played only with Omonia and Apollon in the first division, so I didn't know good the second division. However, I spent these months, even though I had offers in my country and out of Cyprus, even some clubs in Cyprus, to continue coaching. I said to just try and keep on doing my work, trying to reflect what I did with Anagennisi, watching as well a lot of second division games, and also because I'm doing my pro license, to finish my pro license, and in a month's time I will finish it. So then I'm ready to go again next season.
I was going to ask you about the pro license. You're watching second division, you mentioned, but I guess you're also watching first division of Cyprus League. So any predictions about the title racing?
Yes, very good question. Even though, as you said, I'm watching the second, even sometimes going to watch third divisions, you know, close to my place here. I mean, I can see a lot of third division teams. Yeah, I watch always the first division. Sometimes I go to the stadium, sometimes on TV. The predictions. It's not easy, although it's now between two. I believe it's between Paphos or Aris. Aris has already done it, and when you win the championship, then it's more easy to win it again. And for a team who hasn't won it, to try and achieve that, it's more difficult. However, both teams are in a good chance. The points are there, you know, very close. There's a lot of games to be played. My predictions, I'm not sure about it. I fancy more Paphos, to be honest, but you know, I mean, at the end of the day, strategy beats philosophy, and who strategizes more, I think he has the chance to win the league. That's
true. And since you have played in Omonia and Apollon, and these days there are a lot of differences between the teams, the quality of the players, and also like Paphos Aris, the new era of those teams, of those clubs. I don't know, what's your opinion about the new things?
Yes, exactly. My time, I think it was only 3-4 teams maximum. Especially my time when we used to challenge for the title, when I was in Apollon, we used to challenge, for example, with Powell only. So it was only 2 teams. Nowadays, in the separate league, you know, the level has, you know, the standards went so high because now you have Paphos, Aris, who are very, very good teams. They increase the budgets, the standards are high in everything. I mean, even if you see the way they work, their facilities, but it's good for the Cypriot League. And also it will help also the big clubs to try and achieve as well as much as these 2 teams are achieving, even though they don't have the fan base as much as the other teams.
They may create one through the years. What about your decision, André, to finish your career in India?
Yes.
What were your thoughts accepting this offer?
Yeah, basically I left Apollon because my contract was ended, and you know, to be honest, I wanted to retire from football after Apollon. However, this opportunity came for me, and knowing that I wanted to go into coaching, I said between myself that it's good to experience a different culture, to see what's happening in Asia, for example, because I spent my career only in Europe and playing with the national team of Malta as well, playing with different nationalities. But in Asia, I haven't experienced the football culture and also the culture per se. So that was my decision. I knew that the league there is only 6 to 7 months. So I would go there, experience these 6-7 months, and then come back to Cyprus and retire. I was lucky enough, as I told you before, when I came back, COVID hit. And one of my friends jokes with me and tells me, listen, what you did. No, he tells me, what you did, nobody did, because you stopped football and football stopped with you, because at the time, COVID, indeed, you know, the leagues.
Indeed, it was the correct timing.
Correct timing, yes, exactly.
And football is also a tradition for your family. And
yes.
Your grandfather was a football player, your father also.
Yes.
You and maybe your nephew?
Exactly. So basically, yes, my grandfather was the first Maltese captain in the first international Malta had played against Austria in 1957. So he played with the national team. My father also played with the national team. I also played, my uncles as well. So the brother of my mother and the brother of my father also played with the national team.
What a tradition.
Yes. Me as well, I played also. And hopefully now the only chance to keep our fourth generation is my nephew who's playing in Scotland. He lives in Scotland with Dundee United. So hopefully, you know, our tradition keeps on.
Are you watching him or something?
Yes, sometimes I watch his videos. They send me his videos. Hopefully we don't do pressure, you know, whatever he wants, he does. But yes, he's in a very good environment because, you know, in Scotland, you know, he's playing with teams, very tough teams like Celtic, Rangers. And hopefully, yes, he will make it to become a professional footballer.
And I guess your feedback will be very useful for him because you used to be a great player. You are now a coach. You used to be a sporting director in Apollon.
Yes, yes, exactly. I mean, I try to help him as much as I can. However, as you know, Andrea, at the end of the day, it all depends on you, how much you really want to do it.
What about the decision to leave the sporting director position? Apollon celebrated the Champions League, the championship those days.
Yes, exactly. Before the season started, I had a meeting with Nikos Kyrgios, and he asked me if I wanted to take this responsibility, this job position. Although before I was the coach of the under-15s in the academies of Apollon, I prefer to stay as a coach. However, I saw it from a different perspective. I knew that they were going to also sign a German coach. It was easy for the club because I know German. I can communicate with him and also with you know, with the Cypriot culture, because I have lived in Germany for 3 years, so I know the two different cultures, and I try to be in between. But also, I wanted to go in that position because I wanted to see what happens around the environment, and this would help me in the future as a coach to know everything what's happening, even as a manager. Yes, I did a year there, and luckily enough, we won the championship. It was really a nice time. It was a difficult time as well because it was still COVID times, you know, so there were a lot of, I remember we had to cancel the pre-season in Austria. We stayed in Cyprus because of the COVID. So it wasn't an easy year. However, I learned a lot, and I thank, you know, Nikos for giving me this opportunity. But eventually I wanted to go into coaching again, you know, because I love to be on the pitch. I love to help players. My passion is to get the best out of the players. So I wanted to be on the pitch, you know. So I asked Nikos if I could, you know, go back into coaching. He gave me another opportunity to go to coach the second team. And I spent 2 years with the second team of Apollon, which for me was a good time for me to learn and to try and to experiment my philosophy.
So at the season 2017-2018, you start and finish the season with goals. For many people, Apollon was the best team, but you didn't manage to celebrate the title. You lost the champion title and the cup. What about the feelings of that season?
Yes, it was a little bit disappointed. A disappointing season, and the reason why, because we could have made the treble as well. We won the Super Cup, if you remember, against Apoel. And then we ended up losing the league in the last game. And also the cup against Ike in the final. Although I think we had the best team, I remember at that time we had like two teams. We had a team who was playing and another team on the bench, you know, so there were so much good players. It wasn't easy as well for the coach to try and choose the first 11. However, at that time we qualified in the Europa League, so the players were happy because some were playing Europa League, some were playing in the Cypriot League, you know, and there was a good rotation. Yes, it was disappointing, to be honest, because we were playing, I believe, the best football. However, you know, in football, it's not just the way you play, it's about results, you know. And unluckily, Apoel won the league in the last game. I remember Pote scored in the last minutes, you know. I was watching it on TV, you know, because if they drew against Onotis, we would have won the league if we won the next game. So, yeah, it was heartbreaking, but even more than a couple of days after we played the cup final against Ike in Nicosia, yes. And we lost again. So
weird season.
Very, very weird season. But these things happen. These things happen as well in big leagues. But yeah, you learn from these.
You mentioned Europa League. Do you remember your goal in Denmark?
Of course, yes. I think it was one of the
1-1.
One of the nicest feelings for me, because at that time, before I came to Apollon, I was playing in the Primeira Liga in Portugal, in Boa Vista. So the reason I came to Cyprus, because there was, you know, this ambition to go to the Europa League stages, which I, as a player, have never experienced. So for me, this was a target, you know, and scoring the goal to help Apollon achieve that target was something big. But even for me, as a Maltese player, to be the second Maltese player to play in the Europa League stages.
Okay.
But the first who scored then, because I scored against Atalanta with Apollon, and yeah, it was a great feeling, to be honest.
Generally, what about the Europa League memories you have?
Yes, it was amazing, especially the first season, because when I signed with Apollon, I was nearly scoring every goal until we went to the stages, you know. So it was a good performance by me and also, of course, by the team. And yeah, achieving that was amazing. But most of all, you know, the experience of playing in the Europa League stages with the fans traveling with you, with the Apollonistas being in the stadium, you know, and it was an experience I will never forget, you know. And we did it 2 years in a row. The following year, then we also achieved this target, and yeah, experiencing for 2 years, it was amazing. Although it was tiring because I was already in my 30s, and you know, playing every 3 days was exhausting.
What about Omonia?
Yes, Omonia, I believe it was my peak. I was still 24, 25, 26 years old when I was there, because I spent 4 seasons. I wasn't in the right time of Omonia because they had big financial problems at that time. And I remember us players were going to these villages, you know, to collect money. And what I saw about the Omoniatis was unbelievable.
The love of the fans.
The love and the passion of the fans for the club was amazing. Seeing old people giving a lot of money to the club to survive was something I never experienced it in Europe. And it gave me that extra push, that extra passion to give so much to this team, even though at that time maybe we weren't getting paid and all this, but you know, the passion and the love of the fans that they gave us as players, but most of all as a club, was something I never experienced.
And the history of the club, how strong is the history?
Yeah, the history, I mean, is something special, not only but in Cyprus, but in Europe as well. I mean, how it started, and this is what I like about Cyprus, that the clubs are also have this ideology behind them, you know, and this way that, listen, these values, that whatever we do, we stick by these values and principles.
When you came for second time in Cyprus, you didn't have offer from Omonia?
To be honest, yes, there was a possibility, but there wasn't a clear offer, to be honest.
It wasn't official, let's say.
It wasn't. There was rumors, but I never got an official from Omonia. Then I got the offer from Apollon, even though I had a year contract in Boa Vista. However, I wanted to try something new, even though, as I told you before, the target was from Apollon to go to the Europa League stages, and to try and challenge for the league was something that I wanted, to be honest. And that was the reason why why I came back to Cyprus to sign with Apollon.
Do you remember your first goal in Cyprus?
I think yes. I think it was with Omonia against Akna.
Against Enosi.
Against Paralimni it was?
Yes.
Ah, okay.
2-0, Omonia in Gasipi.
Ah, okay. Against Enosi.
That was your first goal. And your last one, do you remember which was?
With Apollon
yes.
against Salamina.
Yes.
Because I remember...
You mean one of the greatest goal you have scored, I think it was against Salamina. The one with...
Yes, with Omonia that time.
With
yes,
Omonia.
Yes.
Isn't it, or do you feel that you scored a better one?
Good question. From a technical perspective, yes, it is. But from an importance perspective, I think the goal against Midland
was more important.
Was more important.
Definitely, it was more important.
Yes.
And I don't know if you know against which team you have scored most of your goals in Cyprus.
Good question. I have no clue.
It's against AEK. It's 6 goals in 19 games.
Ah, okay, against AEK.
You have a good tradition against AEK.
In fact, yes, I scored in the cup final, but we didn't win, unfortunately.
It wasn't enough. Do you know your hat-trick? You had one hat-trick, I think, with...
Karmiotissa, was it?
Yes, with Karmiotissa, with Omonia.
With Omonia, I think it was cup, yes.
Yes, it was 5-0, cup game.
Cup game.
What about the national team?
Yes, the national team,
Where also you have tradition with your grandfather.
Yeah, with all the family
with
there.
All the family.
Yes, to represent your country, it's always an honor. Even though, you know, Malta is not one of the biggest nations and we rarely win, where most of the time we lose. But yes, as I mentioned before, it's always an honor to represent your country and you have to give the best, even though, you know, you are playing against Italy, England, these teams where it's impossible to try and get a good result. Although you try, but you are playing against players who are playing at the highest level. Yeah, I played 94 games there. It wasn't easy for me because, you know, at times it doesn't help you as well. You are playing at club level. When the league stops here, players get recovery, gets free days, and you have to go to play with the national team.
So it's a hard schedule. Yes.
It's a hard schedule. Don't forget that at Apollon times, you know, I was playing Europa League, national team and Cypriot League, so it wasn't easy for me. So yeah, it were good times. Well, I had good times, we won as well. Unfortunately, I never played against Cyprus.
No, you never, but you scored against Hungary twice.
Yes,
remember that game?
This was amazing because I was still 20 years old. I was still playing in Malta at that time. And because of these 2 goals and these 2 performances, I had the opportunity to go and play in Germany.
Okay.
And it was also nice because it ended, you know, the 13 years of not winning in a competitive game. So Malta, we won after 13 years' time, and it was me that I scored 2 goals, you know. So for me, it was something
historic
special.
Goal.
Yeah, historic.
Definitely.
Yes.
What about the experience in Greece, Andrea?
Yeah, in Greece was, I must say, a bad and nice experience. The reason why is because after I did a very good season in Hungary with Ferencváros, where I scored 17 goals, I got an offer for Olympiacos Volos, where I signed for 2 years there. We were playing in the Europa League as well with a very amazing coach, Javi Gracia, who was coaching in the Premier League after. We had a very good team. Unfortunately, the Greek Super League had to, you know, suspend Olympiacos Volos because of things that happened in the past. So they relegated the team in 4th division in Greece. So all the players in Olympiacos Volos had to leave. But I couldn't go to another team, but I had to stay in Greece. So I signed with Panionios, which was an amazing experience for me being in Athens. I mean, it's a nice, one of the nicest cities in the world to live there.
Indeed.
Yes. And yeah, Panionios is one of the historical clubs. It's the oldest club in Greece, if I'm not mistaken. And I had a very good season there. There were offers from Greece, but I had the opportunity to go to Italy. I was waiting for this opportunity. This opportunity never came, and I ended up in Cyprus.
The best choice for a team you have ever made? Maybe it's because of the location or because of the club, I don't know, you can tell us. Very
good question. To be honest, all the clubs I played for were amazing, but if I had to choose a country which I love it, you know, is Cyprus. Cyprus for me is a country which is very similar to my country. The people are amazing. The climate, as we know, is the best in Europe. I enjoy it here. I mean, nowadays, I feel separate as well. I have a lot of friends and...
How long do you live in Cyprus?
I came 2013, if I'm not mistaken, although I left twice. But in Limassol, I have been living now since 2017.
You are in love with Limassol.
Yes,
you have to say this on air.
Yeah, exactly. I am.
And you live with your wife?
Yes.
And she's a TV presenter in Malta. She used to be.
She used to be. Yes, she used to be a TV presenter. And yes, thankfully, when we had to move to Portugal, she came with me. So she had to, she had to change her job as well. But she started also a new life in Limassol here. She loves it, so everybody's happy.
What about the future, Andrea? What your thoughts, your plans?
Yes, basically, as I mentioned before, after an INSC, I had offers to leave Cyprus. Although you never know, I might also have offers to go to another country. I mean, at the moment, I'm more concentrated to focus on Cyprus, to be honest. The reason behind it is, I mean, I know the football here, I've played here, I've coached here. I know the culture, I know how Cypriots think, I know the difference between foreigners who come into Cyprus, how they think. I can speak the language, although I'm not speaking Greek here.
I know.
And I think I can give a lot, here. But you never know. I mean, if the opportunity comes to go in another country, why not? As a coach, it's like a player. You have to move where the opportunities come. But I'm really focused here in Cyprus, and I'm looking forward for next season to make my next step.
One last question: in which team you would like to be as a head coach? You can choose.
Very good question. However, I think as a coach, the best thing a coach can experience is being in the team who has the best structure. Irrelevant which team it is, as a manager, which is also, as a coach, you have to be a manager. I mean, the environment is very important. It's not about being...
In all the jobs.
Yeah, exactly. It's not about being in the best team or with the best fans, but about the environment. It's having the right tools to work with and giving you chance, to create an identity, because that's what a team needs, an identity, for you to be successful.
Okay. It was a clever diplomatic answer. Thank you, Andrea, so much. Wishing you the best of luck. You mentioned that you feel like home Cyprus. Cyprus also feel the same way with you. I'm sure that the fans will be very excited to hear it from you. It has been a long time to listen to you and see you. So thank you so much for this opportunity.
Thank you very much, Andrea.
Αυτά είχαμε λοιπόν, κυρίες και κύριοι, για σήμερα. Ραντεβού σε μία εβδομάδα.